One of these men is a highly respected New York attorney, Lucas A. Ferrara. The other is a self-proclaimed man of the people, known as Mert Roberts. Their aim is to discuss the hottest issues impacting our city, state, and nation. Fasten your seatbelts. Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas, live, starts now on AM 970, The Answer.
So I guess that one's called Broken Promises, right, Alex?
Good evening, Lucas. You are right, and it's written by Lex.
Well, on the topic of promises, during the 2024 presidential campaign, Donald Trump made one of the boldest promises in modern American political history. He claimed he would end the war in Ukraine within 24 hours of taking office. 24 hours, Mert. It was a pledge he repeated more than 50 times, often with dramatic flair, and he would insist that he had a personal relationship with Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, and that he had a relationship with Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, and that peace was not only possible, but it was easy. Easy. Now, more than 9 months into his second term, the war rages on, and Russian drones continue to strike Ukrainian cities. NATO allies report airspace violations, and Trump's once confident declarations have given way to backpedaling. Do you think Ukraine is Trump's Achilles heel, Mert?
You know what? You're like a detective, because this is the type of stuff that people forget about, but the fact that you're bringing it back up is very interesting, because there's a lot of things that people could be talking about right now, but this is one of the biggest things that he was talking about on the lead up to the election. And it's very interesting that I would consider this his Achilles if the people were still focusing on it, but I think that he does such a great job. And I'm not saying this is a negative, because it's a very smart move, a very smart technique, a very smart strategy on the behalf of his campaign or his team. Let's just keep things moving. Let's just keep putting stuff out there. You know, Trump is very good at doing this. You know, people were talking about these Epstein files, and then all of a sudden something else pops up.
Yeah, he's good at deflection.
Now people are talking about the destruction of the ballroom and stuff like that. But let's get back to the Ukraine.
Yeah, please.
You know, I think that
people are dying, Mert. So what happened to resolving this in 24 hours? That's the question.
I think you're doing a magnificent thing by bringing this up, because, you know, usually we're at odds, because you're a very tricky guy. You know, you're always trying to trip me up and stuff like that.
Yeah, they call me Tricky Lucas.
I'm very good at dodging your techniques, but I agree with you on this. I don't know why you're doing it, but I agree with you, because when you're talking about, like you just said, you said it, people are dying, war, you know, a lot of people feel like Russia is bullying Ukraine, and it's still continuing to happen.
No question about it.
I mean, I just heard some other stuff in the news about another attack in Ukraine.
Yeah,
and
just the other day. Just the other day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, and nobody's covering it with the fervor that they once done. So I think that this should be his Achilles heel, but there's so much stuff out there with this administration. He always keeps the news. He always keeps the journalists out there occupied with a fresh story, and that's what the news cycle. They enjoy it. I mean, that's the way things are with the social media age anyway. But the news cycle is such a whatever.
Distraction.
If you can give them something new, they'll forget about the things that, you know, these politicians promise. So it's very good that you bring this up, because you usually support Trump, and I'm trying to always get you to the good side, and now you're on the good side for once, and I like it.
Fair, my friend. Hey, Alex, what do you think?
I don't think he always supports Trump. I'll put it that way. But I will say, the Achilles heel isn't actually Ukraine. It's the fact that still in a second term, he's not been tough on Putin. I really believe that is his Achilles heel. Is how come we have that summit? I know you're going to talk about it in a bit, but then all of a sudden that weekend there's attacks against Ukraine. He doesn't have them under control.
It's like a bromance. Doesn't it strike you like an inappropriate? There's like a relationship behind the scenes. Like, Trump didn't want to offend him for the longest time until just the other day when he was at the United Nations. Now let's blow their airplanes out of the sky. But in the initial stages of his second term, it was all love and Ukraine should give up, their land. Let's give it up and let's concede to the bully. Let the bully have the land. The whole thing just didn't make sense. Now, look.
You know what?
What?
You know what? Before you move on, I want to address that because I'm not going to let you two get away with that because I want people out there.
What are we trying to get away with now? You like the bromance. You're all for the bromance.
I want people out there to understand this. Russia is a superpower, meaning they have several nuclear weapons at their disposal. Now, they could easily go in and wipe out Ukraine with one bomb. Just drop it and blow it all out of the water.
Yeah, but that would trigger World War III. I mean, that's ridiculous, right?
So if Russia is going to do the right thing and try to fight, which is almost pointless, but they're doing it right. They're fighting a war and they're not crossing into the nuclear bomb arena, so they're keeping it fair, which doesn't make sense because
they invaded another country, Mert. They've done nothing right. Okay?
But I'll say this though, they invaded without using nuclear weapons, so it's almost like,
so that makes it okay. No, I'm sorry.
It in the arena of war, it's okay because it's telling Ukraine, hey, you guys have a military, we have a military. Let's fight. We think we deserve something you have, and you say we don't. Let's fight. Now, nobody likes war. I'm not saying that because you're trying to make me seem like I like war. But I don't like war.
You're saying it was okay. You almost suggested like it was okay what Putin was doing because he didn't use nuclear, nuclear bombs.
I'm going to be crystal clear here.
Okay.
You war hawks better be careful because you want to push us into wars with Russia and China and all this stuff.
That's exactly
you guys
what I'm
better be
careful
because I know what you guys. Yep,
that's
what y'all trying to do. Y'all trying to get us to some wars with Russia and Ukraine, and then you'll have the end of the world because you already know if Russia and the United States get into a fight, it might be the last fight. So we have to have a bromance with Russia because they're just as strong as us when it comes to military. So we can't just tell them what to do.
Are they really, though, Mert? They had to ask North Korea for assistance. And I think Trump just the other day called them a paper tiger. And I think he was making fun of them just the other day. So we're getting conflicting messages from Trump. That's for sure. But I think that, Obama has to accept some responsibility. Everybody was they were babying Putin, okay? He had his eyes on Ukraine, retrieving territory, and for some reason, they let him go. And, all this stuff, don't move, don't invade. If you invade, we'll come after you. He invades, and nothing. It's dumb. It's dumb. And Trump babying him, I don't think made it any better. And
I'll say this. You just brought up Obama because I remember this.
Another weak guy. Come on.
I don't even know how I remember this, but I somehow remember this. I remember during his term him having a meeting, not with Putin,
it was an off-mic conversation with one of the ambassadors or something.
It was the president, Dmitry. I don't know how to say his name correctly.
Medvedev.
Yeah, and they were having good talks and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden it just, like I said earlier, it just blew up. Stuff started going on behind the scenes, and all of a sudden, the good relationship we thought we were going to have with Russia, all of a sudden, it went sour. So this stuff happens. It's nothing to do with Putin. It is a Russian mentality. They're always going to be our love-hate relationship because they are, you said it, we don't know if they're really powerful. That's not something we want to find out. We don't want to invade them and then realize, oh, they do have all these nukes. So Russia is able to operate however it wants to in respect to the United States, and there's nothing we really can do about it besides, economic or whatever. But we can only go so far, because if we push the paper tiger, as Trump has called them, that's your words, not mine, we don't know what that tiger actually might do. So just be careful, you two war hawks. Be careful, because you want to get us in all these wars and stuff like that, and all these fights, because we're
I think we're
bad
asking
United
for
States.
for Russia to respect Trump, or Trump to gain that respect from Putin. I think is more what I'm asking for. From
And
Putin.
to respect boundaries of
I'm
other
saying
countries.
that
How's
Trump
that
has
for starters?
Putin, because Putin doesn't respect Trump. I'm just going to say that here. He does not respect Trump, and that's the problem.
I think he's playing Trump. I think that's the point of our conversation, Mert. I think that Trump is allowing Putin to play him, and it's embarrassing. Look, what was this thing in Alaska? When they had this special meeting with Putin, it was in all the news. They're going to meet in Alaska, Putin and Trump, and they're going to sign a deal. And they're going to Ukraine. It's going to be peace in the world. Amen. And we have all these people and all these planes and nothing. The 3 hours, whatever it was, nothing. A big joke. I don't get what that was about. Did you understand that whole Russian move? Yeah. Thank you. The judges don't agree. They don't understand it either.
Well, you're asking the right person about this, because I am an expert in understanding what gestures do. You don't have to know exactly what was discussed, because I understand gestures. At the time, it was a political gesture, which made Donald Trump look like a big deal. He made him look like a hero. Made him look like
not
he was
when he
progressive.
came out with that. Nothing. He didn't look like in my opinion,
hold on
he
a second,
didn't
hold
look
on a
like a
second.
hero. He came out
let
with nothing other than like a little
I'm not
fancy
going to let you get away with that. You're
event.
not going to get away with that, because it takes time for that to be discovered. In the moment, it was a big deal. In the moment, people said, hey, man, he's probably doing something. He's showing leadership. He's getting Putin and all the Russian leadership to meet and discuss ending what's going on over there in the Ukraine. So it was a good visualization for the people. It was a good optic for Trump. It was a net gain in media attention for him. When he's always getting all these negative attacks.
Alex, that meeting with Putin was in August. It was not that long ago. And after 3 hours, Alex, I want Alex to respond to this. Trump emerged saying that they had a general agreement. This is the quote. They reached a general agreement about Ukraine. Where's the zonk, Alex? Because nothing came from that. Nothing. So the whole thing was just theater. It was performative. It was nothing. So I'm sorry. Let's call a spade a spade. That was nonsense. And we probably wasted, by the way, millions of dollars on that show. What do you think, Alex? Yeah, the judges think so. Think it was a waste too. But Alex?
Well, I just think that meeting, you're right, everything's been a waste. And then they, as I mentioned before, they go and attack Ukraine. And I know you're looking at that line. I got to think of that line I said earlier, well, off air. But the point is we need to see Trump be stronger on Russia. That's what this all boils down to. We've had enough. I think all of us have had enough of this Russia-Ukraine war.
Well, it's funny you should say that, Alex, because just last month in September, Trump's rhetoric changed. So much for the general agreement in Alaska, Mert, because later, when he goes before the General Assembly and a reporter asked whether countries should shoot Russian aircraft for violating their airspace, his comment was, yes, I do. And then he called Russia, Mert, this was Trump's words, not mine, a paper tiger, that's quote unquote. And he praised Ukraine's resilience and said maybe they should recoup all their territory. Well, excuse me, President Trump, where were you 9 months ago? They should have recouped recouped all their territory because it was wrongfully taken from the Ukrainian people. And by the way, we don't have time to get into all the polls, Mert, but all the poll numbers, 55% support continued assistance to Ukraine, 52% support sending arms and military supplies, 60% back Ukraine's admission to NATO, 53% believe Trump favors Russia over Ukraine. This was in March, this survey. 86% blame Putin for the war. Only 33% blame Zelensky. So it took 9 months for Trump to wake up and say, yeah, Russia's bad, Russia bad. Come on, Alex, help me out here. What am I missing?
Well, wait a minute.
You're not missing anything, and I don't think we're war hawks, Mert. I just think we're asking for it to be done now.
All right, come on, Mert. We only got a few minutes left. Defend your honor.
I love when Lucas,
Defend your honor, because I know you're
Lucas
a commie
tries to
lover.
run to Alex for help,
I
but
know
Alex
you're a
can't help you
commie
with
lover.
this. No, Alex can't help you with this because you're all alone on this. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to make it seem like just because Putin or Russians in general make a promise that they're going to stand by that promise. And I can't believe you actually pushed me to do this, but this might have been your goal to begin with, to make me the Trump defender, to make people think that I like Trump, so I might lose some of the fans out there that I have, when that's not what I want to do at all.
Oh, yes,
but I have to be fair.
It's like the Titanic. It's Mertz like the Titanic. Go ahead.
I have to be fair here, because this isn't a president thing. This isn't a party thing. Russia, it doesn't matter who's in office. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. They will say one thing in your face, shake your hand, and smile. I mean, they wear suits. Just like the president wears suits. They're in suits. They're civilized. But when they go back to Russia and they want to get back to their objectives, they'll do that. And if it means they have to lie and break a little treaty or, go against an agreement that was struck up, they'll do that, because what are the real consequences that are going to happen? There is none.
Well, tariffs, he's threatening some very powerful tariffs. It's only taken him 9 months, but finally he's saying he wants to really bring Russia to its knees. And there's a way of doing it without bombs, right, Mert? Economic sanctions, tariffs.
Well,
there's a way of bringing a country to its knees, and nobody has to die in the process, Mert. But
you can only push somebody so far before there will be bombs. So you can only go so far before they start going to war about stuff. So be careful with that, you war hawk.
So bullies should win, Mert. Would you allow a bully to win if you were in a fight with a bully? I doubt it. And I don't see why Trump is doing this dance. At least he's finally gotten to where he should be, which is stop the nonsense in Russia. Let's have peace. So President Trump's declaration at the UN marks a defining moment. By endorsing the use of force against Russian aircraft, he signaled a willingness to confront Moscow, and that, I think, is a good thing. Now, whether that will deter further aggression or provoke escalation, as Mert is worried about, well, that remains to be seen. But what's clear is that geopolitical landscape has shifted, and the world is watching and listening. On the topic of listening, welcome one and all to episode 68 of Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas Live. We are now into our second year of broadcasting this great show. Truly happy to have you along with us for the ride. Oh, a little late, but welcome. 68, would you believe it? Let's hear an amen.
Amen.
Thank you, studio audience. This is Lucas Ferrara, and we're ever mindful that without you, we are nothing. So we're truly grateful. With me in the studio, you've heard from my esteemed colleague, the one, the only, the man that we call the Mertinator, affectionately, of course, Mert Roberts. He's the man of the people, engineering and producing the show. None other than Alex Garrett. You heard from him as well. He's got a 5-star rated podcast. It's called One Leg Up with Alex Garrett. Please check it out. We've got some special guests in the studio. When we come back from the break, we'll be chatting with Mitch Francis. He's a serial entrepreneur, inventor, and author, known for his bold, nonpartisan approach to solving major societal challenges. He's got a great book, Badass Solutions for Today's Big Ass Problems, and we're going to talk to him after the break. Stay tuned. We're going to get real.
Promises, whispers in the dark, left me standing here, torn apart every
1 years, Columbus Citizens Foundation has promoted Italian-American culture and heritage and has provided thousands of scholarships to talented Italian-American students who need support to achieve their academic dreams. These scholarships enrich the lives of those who are destined to be future leaders in our community. Be a champion and support the next generation. To find out how you can help Columbus Citizens Foundation, visit www.columbuscitizens.org. These extraordinary students inspire us every day. Their creativity, passion, and pride in their heritage are a winning combination. These scholarships ensure promising students will achieve their goals and be engaged members of their communities. Columbus Citizens Foundation proudly brings the Columbus Day Parade to New York City every year, and you can help them bring a quality education to Italian-American students in need by donating today. Visit their website at www.columbuscitizens.org.
Hey, it's Joe Piscopo, and I want to tell you about an exciting new segment we're launching on my show that will affect your money. I know people want to learn more about the economy, the markets, the Fed, how to protect and grow their money, and why gold and silver have outperformed all the major stock indexes this year. You will learn all of that and more from a new segment with my friend David Fisher, the CEO of Landmark Capital. David has 32 years of experience in economics and markets and has also been on TD Ameritrade and Charles Schwab. He currently interviews every week on a multitude of radio talk shows across the country. Those listeners have benefited, and now I want you to benefit. David is back again on AM 970 The Answer. Listen in on the Joe Piscopo Show Tuesdays at 8:25 for this special Money, Markets, and Metals segment. For more information, call 844-604-2575 or visit landmarkgold.com. Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 1250 Broadway in New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate. MyPillow is excited to announce they're having their biggest 3-in-1 sale ever with a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and an overstock deal you won't find anywhere else. My Slipper's only $39.98. Any color, any style. Regular $149.98. Now only $39.98. That's $110 savings. Once they're gone for good. My Towels are finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set. Regular $69.98. Now only $39.98. And for the first time and only time ever, get their limited edition premium My Pillows made with Giza cotton and a designer gusset. Queens $17.98, Kings only $19.98. Also, for a limited time, when your order is over $100, you will receive free shipping plus $100 in free digital gifts. So go to mypillow.com or call 800-651-0798 and use the promo code JOEP. Use your promo code for the best offers ever. Quantities are extremely limited, so order now.
I am a real American, fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American, fight for what's right, fight for your life.
Welcome back to Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas, live on AM 970, The Answer.
Hey, Alex, what's the name of that song?
This is Bad Boy by Contra. I love this one.
It's great. And it's also funny, given our next guest. Mitch Francis is a serial entrepreneur and the founder of Francis Development, Inc., with a career spanning commercial real estate development, entertainment, and innovation. As a former CEO, he led a publicly traded company from creating 3D motion simulators to becoming Las Vegas's top ticket broker, generating over $1 billion in sales. That's B as in billion. Mitch's inventive spirit is backed by 7 U.S. patents, with many more pending. In his book, Badass Solutions for Today's Big-Ass Problems, he uses his problem-solving prowess to offer bold, actionable solutions to some of the world's biggest challenges. I can't wait to speak to him about that. Mitch is passionate about making a real difference without political bias. Welcome to the program, Mitch.
Thanks, Lucas. It's so good to be with you and Mert. Thanks.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for coming on. So earlier, before we brought you on, Mitch, we were talking about Ukraine. So let me put you on the spot. Any badass solutions for that big ass conflict?
Well, you know, it's funny. I heard what you guys were talking about, and I actually didn't know that Mert was such a big Trump supporter. It's nice to hear.
No, don't. You're not about to get on this. Don't you do that, man. Don't
really
you do that.
Okay, but you know something? There are 2 points. There are 2 points that I think bear repeating. I think all of you have a good grasp on the entire problem and you know what Trump is having to dance with. I think that's what's going on. But you know, Trump is dealing with a guy who is evil.
Yep.
Putin is evil.
Amen.
And he also has a tiny economic country. Amazingly, Russia, the Russian economy, you won't believe this, is 25% smaller than Italy.
Oh, wow.
Our economy is 17.5 times bigger than Russia. So he is basically a big gas station that has nuclear weapons.
Right. And
I think Trump is trying to figure out, you know, he's a negotiator, guys. He's trying to figure out, do I placate him? Do I flatter him? Do I threaten him? Do I give sanctions? What's going to work on this evil guy who's in trouble at home? And I think he's trying to feel his way.
Well, so far he hasn't been successful, right, Mitch?
Correct.
But the question was for you, since you're a problem solver. What is the badass solution for that? Come on, my friend. What do you think?
Okay. Well, I actually think we're really limited to, you know, financial sanctions to really hurt Putin. He's got nothing, and if we really stop everybody from buying his oil, I mean, look, the Europeans never stopped buying his oil. India never stopped buying his oil, and I do think, as Mert correctly said, we also have to be mindful that this guy has nuclear weapons, and I think he is volatile enough to use them. So we have to dance.
Now, Mitch, let me ask you this, because you said
Watch
something.
out, he's known as the Murdinator, Mitch. He's the Murdinator.
Okay.
No, I want to say this because I think we have to remember this, because it's very dangerous to call somebody a bad guy when they have millions of people who might not look at him as a bad guy. I think that's what we're competing with this. You know, when you go to Russia, you get propaganda that says America is destroying us. You call them a gas station, basically, and I think that's an accurate assessment.
I agree.
I think that he could, over there, they could be putting out the message. The reason why we're nothing but a gas station is because the Western influence has put us in this state. So every time they go against an agreement, they go against something the United States says we should be doing, or, you know, we go against the Western civilization, maybe that makes him look like a hero, and that is part of the problem where, you know, there's a certain portion of this world that thinks the United States is the evil entity in this equation and not the other way. So I think that's part of the problem And if we're going to have a big ass solution, we got to deal with that. How can we make people who view us as the bad guys look at us as...
Hey, Mitch, have you been to Russia?
No, I haven't.
I have, okay? And the people are very nice, and they like Americans. I think the problem is Putin, okay? It's not the Russian people, Mert. It's Putin. And sometimes when you have a leader that kills opponents, he poisons people, he kills people, he throws them off rooftops.
And the people, I'm going to say this.
Afraid of him,
I want Mitch
it's him that's the problem. Okay,
I want Mitch to comment on what I'm about to say here.
All right, Mitch.
I think it's the Russian people who have allowed this. Now, you got to understand this. The citizens of the military who are being used to kill these people and carry out these attacks in their version of the FBI, CIA, whatever these organizations are, these are all Russian civilians. So whatever the climate is over there, Putin is only one person. He can't whoop everybody's ass to keep up with that thing.
Yeah, but he buys them off.
He's getting away with it.
His friends are bought off. All the support, they're bought off. Many of them are making billions. Mitch, we don't have time. But, let's talk about your book. I know that you cover a lot of topics, serious topics. And when we come back from the commercial break, we have to take a break in a few minutes. But we're going to talk about, for example, your take on gun violence. But what pushed you to write this book, Badass Solutions, which, by the way, I had to check with the censors to make sure I was able to say the name. But it's called Badass Solutions. What brought you to write it?
Well, you may recall there was a mass killing in a suburb of Chicago during a 4th of July parade a little while ago, and a crazed young man with assault rifles killed 7 people and wounded a lot more, and one of the people he killed was my brother-in-law's brother.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And thank you. Just a great guy, and funny, fun, bright. As you can imagine, the family was just devastated, and I actually left pissed. And I looked around and I said, we have all of these major, big ass problems in our country that nobody is doing anything about. And I've always been kind of a news guy, current events, and I just very often say, well, why don't they just do this? And I just decided to do an outline because there were many many topics that I had at least some opinion on, and there were 20 major big ass problems that I in this outline had at least the beginnings of really viable, reasonable solutions for. And I said, this is a book. And I had no intention of writing a book. And now I have Badass Solutions.
We have 2 minutes. What are some of the topics, just an outline, and after the commercial break we'll talk in more detail.
How to pay off the entire U.S. debt immediately.
Wow.
And see that it never happens again.
Wow.
Restructure the entire Federal Reserve immediately. Stop the ocean levels from rising.
Okay.
Fix the school problem. Solve the abortion issue.
Wow.
Deal with assault rifles. Fix the stock market. Fix the tax system.
Oh my God.
There are 20.
This sounds like an amazing book. This is an amazing book. People need to buy it. Mitch, we have to take a break. We're going to go to a commercial break. But have no fear. Mitch will be rejoining us after these quick commercial messages. For more about him and his book, visit his website. It's bad-solutions.com. That's bad followed by a hyphen ass solutions. Notice how I love saying that. You'll also find links on our website, shakeitofflive.com. Bert, Alex, Mitch, and I certainly hope you'll stay tuned. Mitch Francis doesn't just talk solutions, he builds them. Whether you agree or not, you'll walk away thinking differently. His book, Badass Solutions, is out now, and it's anything but subtle. If subtlety is your thing, you might want to brace yourself. Mitch Francis doesn't tiptoe. He kicks you-know-what and takes notes.
I'm Dottie Herman, Vice Chair of Douglas Elliman and host of Real Talk and Eye on Real Estate on AM 970 The Answer. I'm a lifelong New Yorker and I care deeply about our neighborhoods, our businesses, and the future of New York. New Yorkers are facing the most important issues this election day: public safety, education, the economy, and our overall quality of life. This election will make or break us, and it's critical that you know the facts, understand what's at stake, and most importantly, get out and vote. Early voting begins Saturday, October 25th and runs through November 2nd. Early voting begins Saturday, October 25th and runs through November 2nd. I urge every New Yorker to vote. Again, early voting begins Saturday, October 25th. Election day is on Tuesday, November 4th. Every vote counts. Recognize what's at stake and go and vote.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 1250 Broadway in New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate.
You're listening to AM 970 The Answer. Kevin McCullough, glad to be with you. Danny Patino is also with us from Food for the Poor. And Danny, why are we giving breakfast to Haitian children this fall?
Well, in a classroom in Haiti, the morning isn't just filled with lessons. It's actually filled with the quiet rumble of empty stomachs, folks. And for so many children right now, hunger is their first teacher. Think about it as a constant distraction, and that makes it hard to even hear the instructor. And there's another sound that we can help them hear, the sound of a spoon stirring in a warm, nutritious breakfast. And this is the heart of Food for the Poor Shine program. So for just $20, you can provide that breakfast for one child for the entire school year. That's less than $1 a month. So $100 fuels 5 young minds, and $500 is going to fuel a whole entire classroom, 25 children that can learn without hunger. So right now, your support does more than feed a child. It's going to fund their focus, their education, their future. So I'm asking you, please click on that red banner on the web page to change the life of a child right now. Turn that noise of hunger into the sounds of hope and learning.
855-907-4673, 855-907-4673. As Danny said, you can also give on the website. Look for the big red banner at the top of the page when you go to am970theanswer.com. Our entire family at Salem Media has come together to promote this because we believe that we can make a difference in these children's lives, and we believe in Food for the Poor. We have been working with them for more than 20 years, changing the lives of the poorest of the poor in our hemisphere and beyond. And we believe in what they do. Many of us give to them out of our own personal giving each month, and I hope that you will join us. 855-907-4673, 855-907-4673.
Welcome back to Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas, live on AM 970, The Answer.
We are back with Mitch Francis. He's the founder and driving force behind a bold consultancy called Francis Development, which is known for cutting through the noise with unconventional strategies and fearless execution. He's the author of Badass Solutions for Today's Big-Ass Problems, and Mitch Francis offers bold, creative strategies to tackle major societal challenges. His book, focuses on solving issues like homelessness, gun violence, climate change, and education reform with provocative, nonpartisan proposals. For more about him and his book, visit his website, please, bad-asssolutions.com. That's bad, followed by a hyphen, ASS You'll also find links on our website, shakeitofflive.com. Now, Mitch, you talked about guns and gun violence before the break. In your book, you propose a solution that's bold and unconventional. Can you walk us through it?
Yeah, sure. The United States, or within the United States, there are 20 million assault rifles. And unless we're going to go invade Canada, I can't figure out why we need 20 million assault rifles. We have 2 mass shootings a day in the United States. It's absolutely incredible. You know something, guys? I'm actually all in favor of the Second Amendment. I actually own guns. I have guns in my house. But here's an issue where we have military-quality weapons in the hands of civilians. And, you know, it's kind of interesting. The government says you can't have a bazooka, you can't have a machine gun. You know, they draw a line at what you can and can't have. And up until a little while ago, you couldn't have assault rifles. They were illegal. But then they became legal, and what's happened is they've been abused with all of these mass shootings every day. We're almost numb to it. It's an amazing thing how the United States society has become numb to so much crime, so much killing. And we've got to stop it. I actually propose how we can get rid of all of the assault rifles immediately.
Tell us, my friend.
Well, you know, hard ass, and this is a real one. I think that if we really, as a society, make a decision that we need to go a certain direction, well, we need to do that instead of tiptoe around a problem. And if we as a society say, no, you know what, we really don't want these assault rifles in the hands of civilians anymore. So what we're going to do, we know where they are. That's kind of interesting. They were all purchased, or the vast majority were purchased legally. They were registered. We know who has them.
Right.
So we can say, look, you've got 30 days to turn in your assault rifles for a full refund from the federal government.
Right.
And guess what? If you don't, you're going to go to jail for a year.
So
and I think they'll be turned in.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. See, the way the Democrats phrase it, Mitch.
Well, see, now
let
me say this. Now,
go ahead, Mert. Go ahead, Mert.
So now you have another big ass problem that you're gonna have to deal with. So how are you going to get everybody to, you know? And Lucas was just about to allude to this. How are you going to get everybody to just, you know, hey, let's take our weapons, because it'd be a political nightmare. Because even if people really feel like that, there's going to be individuals out there with large microphones who are going to say, this is how it starts. This is what authoritarianism looks like. This guy is coming for your guns, and he's coming for your life next. It's going to be to the point where you can't even own a cell phone without the government having access or a backdoor into each and every aspect of your life. So how do you deal with that big ass problem where people are going to accuse you of trying to be just like Putin and just an evil person who wants to pry into our lives?
I agree with you, Mitch. I think if that we limited it to assault rifles, because you were very careful in the way, Mert, he was very careful in the way he phrased it. He said he has guns.
See, Lucas, I don't need you to be the lawyer here. Let him answer it, because you're doing a very good job of being an attorney right now. But I want Mitch to give me the...
Mitch, people have to stop saying guns in general. Limit it to the assault rifles.
But let Mitch answer Mitch respond to what I was brought.
Go ahead.
My new lawyer did a really good job. So no, but that really is the case. I mean, you can do an extreme on anything. If we say we don't want toothbrushes, we say, we're not going to have any dental care in the country. But here we're talking about a very specific thing. You can't have military weapons, and the reality is today you can't have, like I said, you can't have a bazooka. I would love to have a bazooka, but I can't get one. It's illegal.
What are you going to do with the bazooka? What are you going to do with the bazooka? Come on.
I'm going to sit and guard my house.
Okay.
No, I mean I'm being facetious, of course, but yes. I'm just saying that we are a democracy, and we say as a society what we want and what we don't want. And here we have a problem. And we've combated issues before when we find that something that's legal has become dangerous. We can make it illegal. We've done that with drugs that used to be legal. We've done that with cigarette smoking and advertising of cigarettes. We as a society and a democracy can pass rules.
Can I interrupt you for a second, Mitch?
Sure.
Look, it's not. I think some people are saying it's not the rifles, it's not the guns, but the people that are operating or using or abusing this stuff. So I think, isn't this a failure of our mental health systems and dealing with those of us that are vulnerable who then have access to guns? Isn't that the real problem? That we're failing those who are depressed, that suffer from various mental issues, and we allow that to fester, and then it manifests itself in assassinating somebody, or killing school children, or going to a church.
So you're going to argue with yourself? Basically, you're arguing with yourself.
No, but
now,
I'm asking Mitch,
it's
not the guns.
Now you're trying to say it's mental health.
I don't think it's the guns. I think it's the people. Mitch?
No, I think it's clear that most of these people who commit these heinous mass killings are mentally unstable. I mean,
That's
come on,
right.
Nobody in their right mind does that.
Right.
They're almost by definition pretty crazy. So yes, it's absolutely a failing of the control system, of the mental health system, all of it. But the fact is that if those rifles are available, somebody can get to them. Somebody can get to their father's or their uncle's gun-locked case and pull it out and go shoot up people. I think if they don't exist, even the crazy people are going to have a much harder time killing the way they've been killing. I do agree completely that we have a mental health problem.
Yep. All right, go ahead, Mert.
Because we're running out of time here, Mitch.
Yes, go ahead.
Because this might be your next question. You said something, and this is the one thing I'm really interested in. Can you give us your solution to the debt? Because you say we could easily pay that off.
Oh, you're
now,
a psychic.
That sounds
you're
crazy.
You're a psychic, Mert. That's done.
But how do we pull that off?
You know what, Mert? I'm glad you went there, because this doesn't have as many emotional factors as something like getting rid of assault rifles. Let me try to get through this quickly, because I know you're running up against time. This week, our debt to the U.S. went up to $38 trillion.
Wow!
And it's been going up about $1 trillion every 100 days. This last trillion that it went up was in about 2 months. So it is compounding. It is unbelievably fast. But let me give some perspective, because it's we don't understand what $38 trillion is.
No.
So $38 trillion is almost 8 times as much as the federal government brings in taxes.
Wow.
So, in other words, this is a huge problem that if we cut spending or raise taxes, it's not going to solve the problem. If the U.S. government didn't spend a single penny, it would take nearly 8 years to pay off the debt, not including interest.
Wow. That's scary, Mitch.
It's very scary, but my point is that we have to do something. Sorry?
And what are you proposing? Because Mert, I want to hear what he's proposing, because it is scary. So you say even if we don't spend another penny, we're not going to be able to fix it so fast. So what is the the solution, my friend?
Okay, so for decades, the United States was on what was called the gold standard.
Okay.
And the gold standard basically said that the amount of gold that the U.S. keeps on reserve, mostly in Fort Knox, is equal to the value of the U.S. currency. And that the government could print dollar bills equal to that value of our gold. And it worked for a very long time. And during the Nixon administration, we got rid of the gold standard. Right. And I believe that was the beginning of Congress overspending the money that they brought in taxes. So I took a look at this, and it was a very pure system, guys. It was really interesting. It was so clear that it represented the value of the currency that for a time, U.S. citizens were able to trade in like a $20 bill for $20 of gold.
Wow.
So I looked at this, and, you know, as you pointed out, Lucas, I'm a business guy, a lot of accounting. And I said, well, the U.S. has assets that far exceed just its gold. Why do we look at it that way? No, the U.S. has on a accounting balance sheet, we have vast lands and oil reserves, mineral reserves, buildings, military installations, planes, ships, schools, hospitals, and on and on and on. And I saw that the amount of assets the U.S. government has is thousands of times larger than the value of its gold reserves. So I created what I called the asset standard instead of the gold standard. And we have the assets. You know, it's kind of like we have by far the most powerful, largest economy in the world. Guys, number 2 is China, and we're 55% bigger than China. And we have all this debt. Well, how's that possible? Because in your gut, and all of us, we know that the U.S. is so powerful, has so many assets that it wouldn't default on its debt. The full faith and credit of the United States exists, and when we print dollar bills or T-bills, that stands behind it, and people buy billions of dollars of our debt every week because they know we're good for it. So on the asset standard, I literally say, let's look at it the same way as the gold standard, that's the value of our currency.
Tie it into something tangible. I get it. Unfortunately, Mitch, we've got to have you back on because we've run out of time. These segments just flew by. You're that great. For more about Mitch and his book, please visit his website, bad-asssolutions.com. That's bad, followed by a hyphen, asssolutions.com. You'll also find links on our website, shakeitofflive.com. Mitch, please come back on. You were amazing. We enjoyed speaking with you. When we come back, we'll be joined by Dr. Monica Vermani. She's a Toronto-based clinical psychologist, and she's out with the book, A Deeper Wellness. Mert, Alex, Dr. Vermani, and I, along with the rest of the AM 970 team, will be waiting right here for you. We know you want it. Come on back. Hour 2 of Shake It Off with Merton Lucas Live. Lots more controversy, maybe some answers await. Dr. Vermani, she's initiating a neurospectral sweep of your consciousness, snack inventory, and your encrypted emotional archives. Preliminary readings suggest mild turbulence and an unhealthy fondness for cheddar cheese. We'll return after this break.
The preceding hour of programming sponsored by Shake It Off Live, LLC.